This is the Vueroid D21 4K dashcam review. We'll have daytime footage, nighttime footage, license plate pickup. We're going to have tunnel test, parking mode, motion, impact detection, time-lapse modes. How much heat can this dash camera withstand in high temperatures? How quick you can actually download a video. Pros and cons of this device. Let's go. The Vueroid D21 4K uses a front 4K IMX678 Sony Starvis 2 image sensor and a rear 1080p Sony Starvis 1 IMX307 image sensor. So what's in the box of the Vueroid D21 4K? So as we open it up, first thing is you're going to see an owner's guide, which most people don't read, but if you do read an owner's guide, it is in there. You'll get your D21 4K, and here's the actual unit. And to kind of give you an idea, this is actually to turn your voice recording on or off. You can actually change the various settings for that. This is your manual recording button, and at the bottom here, this is to turn your Wi-Fi on or off, and that's if you want to connect your smartphone to the actual dash camera. And this is your power on off button right here. Now on the side here, you'll see this is your actual power connection, and this is your rear camera plug-in. On the other side here, you're going to see this is the SD card slot. And then right here, this is the mount that actually slides on or off, and the two-way adhesive tape that's on here. You are going to get a hardwire cable, which has power ground ignition wires right on it, and your cable to go from the front to the rear, which is also, people are going to like. It is very nice and thin. We do recommend putting the angle connector to the front unit. That way, if you are running in any hatches, it's a lot easier to pull the wire through the boot. You have the rear camera, which you can actually adjust quite easily. And the SD card is already inside the unit, but this is actually an SD card adapter. Some computers do have a full-size SD card, so this will actually allow you to adapt and view it on your home computer. And I don't want to forget to mention, if you want to actually adjust the angle of the front camera, right here. Nice and simple. Parking mode. In order to enable parking mode on the Vueroid D21 4K, you're going to get the hardwire cable. The yellow wire is going to get hooked up to constant power, red will get hooked up to ignition, and black will get hooked up to ground. And all you do is plug it in directly into the side of the unit, and now parking mode is enabled. Now you can do this a couple different ways. You can do it by either hardwiring, or you can use fuse taps in order to connect it directly to it. Or available for purchase, you can also buy like an iRoad OBD2 cable that will plug directly into this. The Thinkware OBD2 cable is another one that also works on the market and that will plug directly into this because it's pinned the same way in terms of hardwiring. Now, when we get into low battery protection, there's low battery protection all the way from 11 volts up to 13.1 volts. What's really nice about the 11 volts is if you have an external battery like the iRoad Power Pack, Thinkware iVolt Extra, or other brands that are available on the market, it will allow it to last just that little bit longer because the actual low battery protection is set very low. We don't recommend setting that setting for your vehicle. We do recommend having it on 12 volts or higher when it comes to the low battery protection settings. Impact detection. Out of these two units, only the Vueroid dash camera has it. and 2 seconds after impact, it'll wake up and start recording. The VIofo A229 Pro does not have this option. It does have impact detection in time-lapse, motion detection, and low bit rate, though. Okay, so now that we know the VIofo A229 Pro does not have an impact-only parking mode, let's see how the Vueroid does compared to other products that are on the market with this option. So the Thinkware U3000 takes 1 second after impact to wake up and start recording, while the Vueroid takes 2 seconds, as you've seen in the video right there. So we actually do this test again just to verify, and as you can see, boom, Thinkware U3000, 1 second, and the Vueroid D21 4K is 2 seconds. So let's see how it does to some other products also that have this option. So let's see how it does to the Vantrue N4 Pro. So as you can see, we just made an impact, and it's going to take around 12 or 13 seconds for this thing to wake up. So if a vehicle actually backs into you, it's going to be 12 to 13 seconds. I mean, they could easily make a quick getaway, which means that dash camera is going to be rendered useless in the impact detection mode. So we also found out there was a quick impact detection mode from Vantrue as well. So here we go. We're going to try this, and boom, impact, and 6 seconds later is when the Vantrue N4 Pro actually wakes up. But in order for them to actually do this and come up with the actual quick impact detection, they have to increase their current draw quite drastically. They go from about 10 milliamps to about 110 milliamps. So it's 11 times the amount of current draw that they had before. But here's the thing that's weird, is if you actually look at the actual Vueroid, the Vueroid is drawing 2 milliamps of current. 2 milliamps of current in 2 seconds. The Thinkware is drawing 7 milliamps of current, and it's waking up in 1 second. And in order to get the Vantrue to wake up in 6 seconds, it's 110 milliamps of current. It doesn't really seem to make sense, right? So the least amount of wear and tear on your vehicle is going to be the Thinkware or the Vueroid. Time-lapse parking mode. The VIofo A229 Pro will record at 1, 2, 3, 5, or 10 frames per second, while the Vueroid will record at 1 frame per second. Now you're probably wondering, why is there sound right now? Well, right there, as you can see, there's an impact. So the way the Vueroid dash camera actually works is if there's an impact to the vehicle, it will actually start recording at 30 frames per second and put it into the event file folder and turn the audio on, while the VIofo will still remainly start recording at 1 frame per second, or the 1, 2, 3, 5, or 10 frames per second, depending on the setting that you put it on. So this is something that the Vueroid has that makes it a little bit better for when you have it in time-lapse mode. Because if an impact happens, that's pretty critical information for it to change right to 30 frames per second just like that. So let's dive into the current draw in the time-lapse parking mode. So the VIofo A229 Pro draws 400 milliamps or 5 watts of current. The Vueroid D21 4K is 331 milliamps or 4.1 watts. Motion detection of the VIofo A229 Pro and the Vueroid D21 4K. A lot of times people think it draws no current at all unless there's actually motion, which is actually completely false. So right here, we're actually showing you the VIofo A229 Pro had about 13 seconds of buffered recording, which means it was recording 13 seconds before we entered the frame. And the Vueroid recorded 6 seconds prior to us entering the frame. And now we wanted to verify if there's an impact in motion detection. Does it actually lock the video and save it? So we did a second test here, and both the VIofo A229 Pro and Vueroid D21 4K saved the video in the locked and event recording. So let's move on to current draw, and the VIofo A229 Pro draws 425 milliamps or 5.3 watts, while the Vueroid D21 4K draws 336 milliamps or 4.2 watts, which is 79% of what the VIofo does. So it is more energy efficient in motion detection parking mode. Parking mode at night. We have the VIofo A229 Pro at the top and the Vueroid D21 4K at the bottom. This is motion detection. And in this first example, we're just going to move around, see if the video actually captures it, which as you can see, is completely normal. And as you've seen in the daytime video footage, the actual VIofo had about 13 seconds of buffered recording. The Vueroid had 6 seconds. This was the same thing here. We did cut out a lot of that though for this video. Now, for this, we're now going to make an impact in the motion detection mode to see what ends up happening. So we actually hit right next to the Vueroid. The Vueroid does take that video and put it into event file folder. And then we hit directly at the VIofo A229 Pro. But surprisingly, the VIofo doesn't actually lock the video and save it. Now, I'd like to hear your comments. Do you think that's a valid impact for a vehicle? Do you think the dash camera should be saving that? Now, here we are in time-lapse mode at 1 frame per second. And now we're going to go and make an impact to the vehicle. And the interesting part is, as usual, you can see the Vueroid has gone to 30 frames per second because it detected an impact. While the VIofo did lock the video this time at 1 frame per second, but it didn't change anything and go to 30 frames per second and turn audio on like the Vueroid has capabilities of doing. Now at the top, we have low bit rate for the VIofo and low power mode, which means the Vueroid will only wake up once an impact is made. And there we go. There's the impact. 2 seconds later, the Vueroid is now recording. And like we said earlier, the Vueroid is in ultra night vision and the VIofo is in HDR turned on. Tell me what you think in the comments. Which one do you think did better? I'd be interested to hear your opinion. And the low bitrate mode did lock the video this time. Just surprisingly, auto event detection did not. US. Vueroid works a little bit different. This button right here is a manual recording button.
Start manual recording.
So just like that, it's going to start manually recording. And how it actually works is it goes back 10 seconds and saves a separate 30-second video file in your manual recording event folder. So this is actually just how it works. So it doesn't actually save like multiple minutes like the VIofo does, but it goes back 10 seconds because typically, let's say you're pulling up, you've seen a car accident happen, it takes you a few seconds to react, but there was no impact to your vehicle, so it's not actually going to lock it. So now you can actually just hit this button like we showed you. It'll go back 10 seconds and save a separate video file. How much heat can the Vueroid D21 4K withstand? Well, this is an actual clip from our best dashcam for hot climates. Enjoy.
Up next, we have the Vueroid D21 4K and the Thinkware GX 4K going head to head. So currently the cabinet temperature set for 190, it registers 176. The GX 4K has already shut off in the range of 178 degrees Fahrenheit to 181.9 or 182. The Vueroid is still going strong. It's still on currently. Let's see if we can get a shot of the green light. There we go, it's still on. The other one is already off. So we're probably going to crank it another couple degrees and see if it shuts off finally. So we brought this up to 200 degrees Fahrenheit because it hasn't shut off after a while now, which is the D21. So we're going to let it ride out for the duration of this. It's currently 8 o'clock right now, and we'll check back in about 15-20 minutes.
Okay, so we cranked this up and we had the oven over 210 degrees Fahrenheit and we could not get the Vueroid to shut off. And for that, we actually decided to kind of abandon the mission of continuously trying to get the Vueroid to shut off. As you can see to the right, the Vueroid had a max temperature of 269 degrees in the cabin. The center temperature, which is the CEN, is 207.6 degrees Fahrenheit, which is what the Vueroid was measuring with our heat gun. And the min temperature inside that cabin was 82.5 degrees. Okay, so let's go over the rankings here. And you can see from the top to the bottom, Vueroid is number 1, Thinkware U3000 number 2, Vantrue N4 Pro number 3, Blackvue DR970X plus LTE, the VIofo A229 Plus, FineView GX4K, and the VIofo A229 Pro. How quick can you download a video on a Vueroid dash camera? Here's a clip from our download speed test against 8 total dash cameras. Enjoy.
Recording. 1 channel.
So now we're going to rank them. And number 1, FineView. Number 2, the Vueroid D21 4K. Number 3, VIofo A129 Pro. Number 4, the A139 Pro. Number 5, the A229 Pro. Number 6, the Thinkware U3000. Number 7, the Vantrue N4 Pro. And number 8, Blackvue DR970X plus LTE. Pros and cons. Front 4K Starvis 2 image sensor. The rear camera cord is smaller. Very quick download speeds when using a mobile phone. 2 milliamp low power parking mode, the lowest I've ever seen. Time-lapse parking adjusts on impact to record at 30 frames per second. And audio if you have audio turned on. Red light and speed camera notifications. And a 2-year warranty. Cons. 1080p rear camera. Downloading a video on a desktop computer requires a VLC media player because it's not an MP4 and it's using AVI files. Now, just to make sure that nobody gets confused here, if you download it via your mobile phone, via the smartphone app, it downloads directly to your phone in MP4. It's just if you take the SD card out, use the adapter, and put it into your computer, then you are typically going to use a VLC media player in order to actually view the video files. No 3-channel support. Limited to 1-minute video clips, so you can't change them to 2, 3, 5-minute long lengths like some of the other products on the market. Need to use a third-party CPL filter because they currently don't manufacture one. False alerts of impacts while parked. So some of the other companies we've seen, like Thinkware, for instance, has added in a 30-second or 90-second delay where you can actually select that in the menu so that when you're getting out of the vehicle, like, and you maybe have kids in the back or just getting out of the vehicle in general, it'll have a little bit of delay before it goes into parking mode and the higher sensitivity. While the Vueroid currently goes directly into parking mode, and then when you close that door and you get back in, it's always telling you have a false alert, even though you didn't actually, there wasn't any major impact. So that's one of the little things that we've asked them to correct. And so hopefully they'll take that feedback, which we gave them a few months ago, and look at and apply it to a future firmware update. What are my final thoughts on the Vueroid D21 4K? I feel that it's very good for a certain lifestyle. And what I mean by that is maybe you really want the VIofo A229 Pro video quality that the front camera has, but you don't want the high current draw that happens in parking mode, right? And you want to Thinkware U3000 for its low parking mode options, but you don't like that it doesn't have HDR when you're driving around at night. So really, the Vueroid is just kind of like that niche product in between. You want a U3000, but you want better video quality when driving around at night. You want an A229 Pro, but really you want the lower current draw parking modes because, you know, you've been hit before in the parking lot. Something happened to you and you got a new hybrid or an electric vehicle or something, you know, one of the Japanese vehicles like a Toyota, Mazda, Honda, right, that have these smaller car batteries. And to have a dash camera that has a low power mode of 2 milliamps that you don't really need to worry about anything happening. Now, if you are worried about vandalism or anything like that, obviously you would want to use time lapse. And if you're looking for long periods of parking mode, I would obviously look at getting a battery pack. Realistically, it comes down to what you want for your lifestyle. Well, there it is, the Vueroid D21 4K full dash cam review. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you are looking to support us in Greater Vancouver or Greater Toronto, we do offer professional on-site dash cam installation. Or if you're looking to purchase a dash camera, take a look at us, safedrivesolutions.com. Thanks again.